Hello investors, welcome back to the Trend Trader channel. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to buy TymeBank shares using EasyEquities. Some of our subscribers, viewers and followers on social media, they've been asking this question on how to buy a TymeBank. We see a lot of people are interested in TymeBank. So in today's video, I'll be showing you how to buy TymeBank shares using EasyEquities. But before I show you that, we will first start by looking at what is TymeBank, and then we will look at African Rainbow Capital and African Rainbow Capital Investment. Then we will go through the annual report, the recent annual report of African Rainbow Capital, so that we see what kind of financial information we find there. And then also in the end, we will look at the chart of African Rainbow Capital Investment to see if there is a buying opportunity that you can use in order to buy African Rainbow Capital Investment shares, which means that we will see how we can find a buying opportunity for TymeBank. And then finally, we will wrap it up by showing you how to buy these shares on your EasyEquities account, which is the purpose of this video. So sit back, watch and enjoy. If you find value in this video, make sure that you subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And then if you have subscribed, make sure that you also smash that bell notification so that you won't miss any videos that we'll be making in the future. And then also, if you happen to find value in this video, make sure that you click like, and if you have any comments, suggestions, make sure that you write them in the comment section. We will answer to all those questions. And then for those people that don't have an EasyEquities account yet, we will leave a link that you can use to register an EasyEquities account so that you can start investing using EasyEquities. The link, you will find it in the description below. So if you just want to open an EasyEquities account, make sure that you click in the link description. It's going to be the first link in this video. All right, so now let's go and find some information regarding TymeBank. Before we start, we just want to share with you some of the videos that we have published recently. Don't forget to check them. In one of the recent videos, we were giving a portfolio, the dividend portfolio update. We shared all the holdings in our dividend portfolio. We also gave feedback on how that portfolio has performed in the past few months, including the dividends that we have earned. And also in that video, we share free web tools that you can use to do your own research so that you can find information regarding dividend companies that you may want to buy and add into your EasyEquities account. So make sure that you go back there, you watch some of those videos. We also have a video there which shows you 4 dividend stocks that you can buy and add on your EasyEquities account. So at least now you will have an idea of where we find the information regarding dividend stocks. Okay, so now let's start with the order of the day. So TymeBank, we know that a lot of people are interested in this bank. As we can see that TymeBank just reached over 4 million account holders in a record time, which is good. It means that it's a good growing company. So, and that's one of the reasons why you guys are familiar with it. It's because everybody is talking about it. So now I'm on the TymeBank website. As you can see, they offer personal banking, business banking, and then they're here on this tab, they show or they speak about different ways that you can use to bank with a TymeBank. But like any other retail bank, when it comes to personal banking, they have the typical kinds of banking account. As you can see, they have a personal account. They also have a credit card and different services. And then one of the thing that attracts a lot of users is the goal save or the savings account there that you find, and also that is because of the high interest that you can earn from a TymeBank account. As you can see here, they say that you can earn up to 8% interest per year, which is good. You can earn that interest if you have a goal save account, but first you need to open the ordinary account for you to be able to access the goal save tool. Then there are other kinds of services. You can send money for less. It's only going to cost you R7 to send to other mobile numbers within the borders of South Africa, and it's free for TymeBank to TymeBank customers, which is good. And then if you are a smart shopper, a Pick n Pay smart shopper account holder, then you can get double points if you pay with your TymeBank account. So there are benefits into using TymeBank, and probably that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are interested in this bank, besides looking at it from the investor's perspective, right? And then normally people, they bank using the kiosk, either that you can find at Pick n Pay or Boxer stores. So yeah, that's just as much that you can find on the TymeBank website. As you can see, they have personal banking, business banking, and then they also have that credit there that you can follow there. So if you're interested in opening an account of TymeBank or being a TymeBank user, you can just go to tymebank.co.za and then open an account there, then start making transactions using your TymeBank account. So just before we go to African Rainbow Capital, I want us to look at the goal save. As you can see, they say that you can make different kinds of savings there in your goal save account. It's a free saving tool that is linked to your everyday account. You can have 10 different goal saves for 10 different goals. And then they say you can earn interest. The longer you save, the more interest you can get there. I'm sure we are all familiar with that now. And then if you switch your salary from whichever bank that you are using and you move it to TymeBank, you're going to get an additional 1% interest rate to your current interest rate. So the power of goal save is that you earn more interest. Well, we know that already. We're interested in compound investing. The longer you save, the more interest that you'll get. As you can see, the interest, it gets bigger over time. So in the first 30 days, you get up to 4%. And then from there up to 3 months, you get 5%. More than 3 months, you get 6%. And then if you give them 10-day notice to access your savings, then you get up to 7%. And then once again, if you put in your capital there, your salary, if your salary is deposited into your TymeBank account, you get that extra 1%, which bump up your interest to about 8%. So I think that this is a good thing that you can use. Recently, we saw a lot of people covering plastic containers with sellotape so that they can save money there. There's nothing wrong with that. We all save for different reasons, and we save using different tools. But the difference there is that the money that is saved in those containers will not gain any interest. So if you want to save like this, if you have might want to do quick transfers, it's better to save your money in TymeBank, because you would be receiving interest on your invested money or on your saved money. There's a difference between saving and investing. In this case, we're talking about savings or using TymeBank as a savings tool, right? But now, what is TymeBank? Because how can we invest in TymeBank? So the short answer is that TymeBank is part of African Rainbow Capital, meaning that we can't buy a TymeBank directly, but we can invest in African Rainbow Capital. So once we invest in African Rainbow Capital, that's when we get exposure to TymeBank and to other investment that you can find in African Rainbow Capital. To get more information about African Rainbow Capital, you can quickly go to africanrainbowcapital.co.za, and then if you go to the About Us tab, then you can find a brief history of ARC. But in short, ARC was formed in 2015. It's a black-owned entity with different investment either in the financial and non-financial industries. We'll go through those investment there. And then ARC is a subsidiary of Ubuntu Bot Investment, which is also a black-owned and controlled company that was created in 2004. The purpose of Ubuntu Bot was to build a black controlled capital, which is a good thing. We do need that in South Africa. So there's a lot of information that you can find there with regards to African Rainbow Capital, including the business philosophy and the value creation that they have there. But on this website, African Rainbow Capital, there isn't much information that you can find. As I was trying to find the annual report, I couldn't find it here. But there is another website which is arci.mu. Remember, there's African Rainbow Capital, then there's African Rainbow Capital Investment. So now once you come to African Rainbow Capital Investment, that is where you're going to get a lot more information such as investor relations, where we can find information like a presentation, financial report, and any just additional information, unlike the information that you find on the African Rainbow Capital website. So for the purpose of this video, I will stick to African Rainbow Capital Investment so that you can see what is in there. So like I said, ARC is a diversified investment company. So I just want us to see what kind of investment that they are making, or the investment that they hold in addition to TymeBank. So if you look at the structure of African Rainbow Capital Investment is a bit complex, but we are looking at the ARC fund, which is the entity or subsidiary of the African Rainbow Capital Investment. So in that fund, there are different kinds of investment. You see there are diversified investment, which includes telecommunication, mining, construction, energy, business process outsourcing, agriculture, property, and other kinds of businesses. Then there's diversified financial services. Under diversified financial services, there's insurance and asset management, specialist financial services. Then there's banking and digital. So this banking and digital, it's about 11.8% of the ARC fund, and TymeBank, you find it under banking and digital. So you see TymeBank is just about 10% of the whole business. And also remember, under this banking and digital, there are three businesses under this portfolio. So TymeBank is also, it's not a significant holding of ARC. Well, for them it's significant, but compared to other investment, as you can see, it's about 1.4 billion compared to about 3.6 billion that is invested in telecommunications. So yes, if you do buy African Rainbow Capital, you are getting a diversified portfolio, right? So now if you go under investor relations, and then you go to integrated reports, that is where we can find the recent report, and then we can go through the report so that you can see what kind of information that we're looking for. At this moment, there is an annual report for year 2021, integrated annual report. So that's the one that I'm interested in because it's the recent report that they have there. So I've already opened that report. I went through it so that I can see where I can find the bits and pieces of information that we can use to make an informed decision to decide whether it's worth investing in African Rainbow Capital. So these are some of the key highlights that they have for the year ended in the 30th of June 2021. We are now in 2022. We will see now when they will release another set of results, and then maybe we'll make another video looking at those set of results and see how things will have changed. But as it stands, the African Rainbow Capital, the value or the intrinsic portfolio value, it increased by 16.3% to about 12.3 billion, which it comes from different entities. Remember, African Rainbow Capital is a holding group. Sometimes it's not that easy to assess or to determine the net asset value of a holding group compared to an individual company. Right, so there are a lot of things that they say there. There's an INF per share. They say that one, it has decreased to R8.77, but also they say that I'm sure maybe they wanted to say it decreased due to the number of shares that were issued at the end of June in 2021, because if you compare to the previous period, 30 June 2020, the INF was R9.54, so it's a decrease, right? And then there is an F.I.R.E NEF, which they also say that it has decreased by 7.5% to R8.85. So I don't know what's the difference between the F.I.R.E net asset value and this INF there. But what you can see, what is clear is that there is a decrease there. And then, well, like any other company that is growing, it's possible that it can easily increase their debt. As you can see, the debt of the ARC fund, it increased by 429 million. It increased to about 870 million. In the previous reporting period, the debt was about 440 million. But the good thing is that the company does have cash, which is a significant increase from 35 million all the way to about 240 million, right? And then they did a capital raise, which was concluded in October 2020, which is good. And then there's a strong share price performance, increase in F.I.R.E. F.I.R.E is another company that is performing well on its own. Then, as you can see here, the fair value of F.I.R.E increased to 601 million. Which is good. But the star of the day is TymeBank. As you can see, by 30 June 2021, they had about 3.45 million. So now we are in January 2022. I'm sure they have more than 4 million now already, which is good. As we saw on their website, they said that they had the quickest or they hit 4 million customers in record time, which is good for investors. And then they also did some other kinds of transactions, like Sanlam acquired 25% of ARC fund. Financial services investment. So that's a bit of information there. And then if you have some time to try to wrap your mind around the structure of ARC, you can just come here. But as you can see, it is a complex structure. These people owns this what. But yeah, it is a complex structure, which is not the purpose of this video. So now I just want to scroll so that you can see what it's in there in this business, what you can find from there. There was a page that I was looking at. There was some information that I wanted to share with you, but as you can see here, there's information about TymeBank. They say that the ARC, they've added about 505 million into TymeBank and Tyme Global during the year, as part of the scheduled capital requirement for the bank. And then as of the 30th of June, the ARC fund had an interest of 28.8% in TymeBank, which represent 49.9% of the 57.7 interest that is held by ARC in TymeBank. And then they say that TymeBank and Tyme Global have secured an additional equity funding of 110 million from ARC Financial Services Holdings and from other two new international shareholders, right? So these international shareholders are a Peace Growth Fund and JG Summit Holdings. So it's good the business or TymeBank is able to raise capital from foreign investors. I mean, it's good to see that it's able to attract investment, whether it's local or foreign, right? And then that equity funding is split into two tranches, of which the first tranche of 80 million was concluded in April 2021, and then the second tranche is yet to be concluded. We will see on the latest financial report when it comes this year whether that second tranche will be included, unless it was not planned to be included in this period. Okay. So there's a lot of information that you can find there. Remember, they said that F.I.R.E was one of their best performing assets, as you can see here, but there are some assets that are not performing that well. They're just still running at a loss. And then the dividend income that they get from all the companies that they have invested in, it increased by 40% to 191 million compared to the previous period where they received dividends of 136 million. Right, and then most of that dividend income, it came from GemCap, Bluespec, and F.I.R.E, but also the other investment they did pay a bit of of dividends. Okay, right. So now, like I said previously, under financial services, remember they have financial services and non-financial services. Of the non-financial services, they have banks, telecoms, and other different kinds of investment. But under financial services, that's where we find digital banking and digital, which includes TymeBank and Tyme Global. But the other two investment, it's AI fund and Uber there. Then they've got other different kinds of services there as well, or which are not the focal point of this video. But the other diversified investment under telecoms, we already know that they are co-owners of F.I.R.E, and then they have F.I.R.E in the mining and construction and other different services. And then in basic process, for those car fanatics, there's Auto Boys, which is just a car workshop. And then they've got other different investments that they hold there. So I'll just go through this so that I can reach the kind of information that I want us to look at. So we're just going to be skipping the stuff that is not related to TymeBank. Okay. Yeah, it's a bit of a long report as I scroll in here. There's a lot of necessary information that investors can look at, but that information is not really necessary for the purpose of this video. Okay, now we are looking at the statement of financial position, which is more like a balance sheet. But remember, I'm not an accountant, so I call these things whatever I think they are called. But here I want us to look at the current asset of the business. I always like to look at the current asset because I need to understand the quick or the net working capital of the business. So we can see that they have a 15 million rand of cash and cash equivalents under current asset. And then when you look at current liabilities, they just have 1 million rand current liabilities under trade and other payables. So if we want to determine the net working capital, we need to subtract the current liabilities from the current asset. And this gives us a positive figure of 14 million. It means that the business is liquid. If they wanted to settle their current liabilities within 12 months, they can easily settle them because they have a positive net working capital of 14 million, which I find it very interesting because now I wonder what kind of current liabilities that they have that are only 1 million rand. Yeah, it's really interesting there, but yeah, it is what it is. It's what we see from this annual report that they have prepared. And then another thing that we see here, it's not, I don't think that it's a continuation of that statement there, but the statement of comprehensive income or just income statement. So in the income statement, you can see things like a revenue and then the amount of tax that they've paid, and then we can see if the business has been profitable. So if the business is profitable, then we can start to see positive earnings per share. In the previous videos, we did speak about earnings per share and the difference between earnings per share and headline earnings per share. But in this case, we don't have what we normally look at as revenue. What we see is fair value movement of the fund. And then they say the fair value is 920 million rand there. They've got 1 million rand income. I wonder where it came from. And then the profit before tax is 913 million rand, which is good. And then the profit for the year is also 913. So because it's profitable, if you take the number of shares outstanding, then you can determine the earnings per share. In this case, we see a positive figure. They say that the earnings per share is 73 cents, and it's a significant growth from 2020, where it was just 12 cents per share. So if we see a positive figure, it means that for every R1 that we invest in a company, it's bringing us some cash, or every share that we own is bringing us some cash as investors. So this is something good. It's something that I want to see whenever I invest in a company. Okay, then there's a different types of equity there, or income that is coming from the different groups. So let's just continue scrolling down to see what other kind of information that can be beneficial to us, that can help us make an informed decision before we invest. Like I said, they have different kinds of investment. TymeBank is not one of their largest investment. As you can see here, they have 29% that is invested in telecommunication. So of this 29%, about 2% is invested in Metro Fiber and 27% is invested in Rain. Some people are finding Rain useful. Some people have challenges with Rain. It depends where you are sitting as a user. And then they also have a 10% stake in F.I.R.E. Not a 10% stake, 10% of the fund's capital is invested in F.I.R.E. and F.I.R.E. is doing very well, which is good capital allocation there. And then there are other different kinds of investment like property investing, and they also have agriculture investment. Then under financial services, let's see what's there under financial services. But that's where we're going to find a TymeBank and other things. So let me just keep on scrolling until I see something that is related to TymeBank. Right, here we are. So under financial services and then banking digital, remember they have other types of financial services that they offer, but our interest is banking and digital. And then as of June 2021, they have invested about 1.45 billion in banking and digital, and 1.173 of that amount is invested in TymeBank to grow that business, compared to the previous period where they only had invested 927 million. This means that they have increased their capital allocation to TymeBank, as we saw that there was a right offer there and the cash injection there. That happened. So it's good to see that the fund is interested in growing a TymeBank, meaning the people that love TymeBank, they're still going to have a business, a good business that they love so much, right? So as from this point, I don't think that there was more information that was interesting that I wanted to share with you. But just by going through this annual report, we can see that there is some information that we can find about TymeBank. But remember, like I said initially, TymeBank is a investment, a part of investment that is owned by A.R.C. Investment, right? So now let's go look at the chart before I show you how you can invest in TymeBank shares. So TymeBank, when it came to EasyEquities or any other stockbroker, they listed at this price. I just want to see what was the price there. Let me try to zoom out a bit, right, so that we can see. Okay, the share price on that day, I don't see what price it opened at, but I can see the price that it closed at on that day. So the closing price when they listed was about R8.40 there. Okay, I can change this to candles so that it's much more clear for some people. So the low of the day was about R8.28, and the high of the day was R8.70, but it closed at R8.40. Since then, the share price has been on a downtrend for so many reasons that we don't know. So it went on a downtrend and then it bottomed at about R2.50 per share, but the lowest that it traded was somewhere around R2 per share. Then we started to see the share price coming back up and then coming to this level at around R4, where it's been struggling to break above that level. Let me try to draw clear lines so that you can see something that is a bit clear. But in 2020, the share price then started to perform well. As we see, there was a bit of a resistance somewhere around 450, but the share price kept on finding support at this trading level around 350 before breaking above for this 450 resistance level. And then we saw a bit of a consolidation just before the beginning of 22. Then from 5 rand per share, you can see that the share price has just quickly shot up from 5 rand all the way to about 7 rand 50 per share. So that is where it is sitting at the moment at 7 rand 50 per share. So this is not a kind of a share that I will buy for trading purposes, because at this moment it's far from an area of value. But what I wanted to point out to you is that the share price at the current price where it is at 7 rand 50 cent, it's closer to that initial listing price of about 8 rand 50 per share. So now what will happen, or something that I expect to happen, is that the share price eventually is going to reach this level, and potentially it will continue to trade above 8 rand 50 per share. I'm not negative on the stock. There's no reason to be negative. As we saw, F.I.R.E is profitable. I believe that Rain is also doing well, and the other companies that they hold, and also TymeBank on its own, it has the potential to continue to grow. And then, as you can see here, we're already at a resistance level where the price stopped a bit. So once the share price can manage to go above 7 rand 50 per share, then we can see the share price going all the way to 8 rand 50. Then we just wait for a breakout. Once it break above 8 rand 50, 8 rand 60 per share, then we can expect the share price to continue to go up. But it's a stock that I will buy as an investment stock rather than a trading stock, meaning that I will give this position a large stop loss so that I allow it to fluctuate. I mean, if you are a believer in TymeBank, that TymeBank has something good to offer to its customers, then you can look at it from an investing perspective. But at this moment, from a trading perspective, it's far from an area of value. It's either you have to wait for a pullback back to any of the moving averages there, then you can have your buy order and buy it, or else you'll have to wait for a breakout above 8 rand 50 per share. But that is from a trading perspective, of which some of you are not traders. You are more of investors compared to traders. So now if we're looking at it at a daily chart, we can see that there have been a lot of opportunities to buy the stock. When it broke above 5 rand 60 there was a buy opportunity, and also when it broke above 7 rand 10 cent, because as you can see here, there was a bit of a consolidation before that breakout. So from a daily time frame, the share price is still closer from that breakout level. So if you were to buy at 7 rand 50 per share, you can have your stop loss just somewhere around 6 rand 70, meaning that you'll be taking this risk there, which is about it's 30 cent. It's going to be about 80 cent risk that you'll be taking. Keep in mind that the price is far away from the 50-day moving average. If you set your stop here, the stop loss is going to be a bit wider compared to if you set your stop just below this consolidation level. Then you can hold that position for as long as the price remains above 6 rand 70 per share. But then again, like I said, that is from a trader's perspective, not from investor's perspective. Okay, so now that we have seen the chart of ARC, we covered what is TymeBank. We looked at TymeBank, we looked at GoldSafe, we looked at African Rainbow Capital, and then we looked at African Rainbow Capital Investment and its complex structure. Then we looked at the audited annual report of the year that ended in the 30th of June 2021, right? So now how can we buy these shares? So whether you are here on the African Rainbow Capital website, africanrainbowcapital.co.za, there's an option that you can click there to buy our shares. But this will work if you are already an EasyEquities account holder. Also, you find this information here on African Rainbow Capital. So if you just click buy our shares, as you can see it's loading, it will then take you to EasyEquities. Then you can log in into your EasyEquities account, and it should be a funded account because, well, you need to have money to be able to buy these shares. Then once you are there on your EasyEquities account, then after you have logged in, you will have that option to buy. You can buy as many shares as you desire, but do keep in mind your risk management. Understand that how many shares you want and the amount of risk that you want to take with that. And then, as we saw here on the chart, African Rainbow Capital, the share code is AIL. So meaning that if you are on EasyEquities, you want to find African Rainbow Capital, you can write the name African Rainbow Capital. I think if you write African Rainbow Capital or African Rainbow, you will see African Rainbow Minerals, which is a mining company. But once you start typing African Rainbow Capital, then you will start to see this logo, because the ARC logo differs from the African Rainbow Mineral logo there, but the share code is AIL. So you can just easily type in that search box, type AIL, and then you will find ARC will pop up, and then you will make an investment. So long story short, you can't buy a TymeBank directly, but you can buy African Rainbow Capital Investment, which will give you an exposure to TymeBank and other different kinds of assets. Now, as we saw that they also own F.I.R.E, so it's up to you whether you want to own ARC and also own F.I.R.E in your portfolio. So if you already own F.I.R.E, you need to decide whether it's better to invest directly to F.I.R.E or to invest in F.I.R.E via African Rainbow Capital. So yeah, that's it for today. I hope that this video helped you to understand what is TymeBank and how TymeBank is related to African Rainbow Capital. And also we looked at the chart of African Rainbow Capital Investment to see and try and find a trading opportunity there. We saw that on the daily chart, we can buy at the current share price with the stop loss at around R6.70. But for long-term investors, you can give it a bit of a leeway and then maybe have your stop loss somewhere there around R6 per share. And then we showed you that you can buy a TymeBank on EasyEquities or any other broker just by looking for this share code AIL, but the full name of the share code is African Rainbow Capital Investment. And then yeah, that's it. We hope that you'll be able to go through the annual report so that you can make your own so that you can make your own well-informed decision regarding the stock, and make sure that whether you decide to buy or not to buy the shares, it's a good decision for yourself. From my side, my job was just to show you the relationship between these entities and how to invest in that. So if you found value in this video, just make sure that you give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do consider subscribing. That does help the channel to grow. And then hit that bell notification so that every time we upload a video, you don't miss it out. Okay, that's it for today. I will see you in the next video.